vehicle sales gaining traction, and the trend does not look like it's ending anytime soon. Phil LeBeau joins us now.
You've heard it before. Electric vehicles are expensive, elite, out of reach. But today, that myth is dead. Because what Toyota did changes everything, and this new release is about to wipe the floor with Tesla, BYD, and every other overpriced EV. This single model may even kill off gas-powered cars faster than any government ban. So, how did Toyota make this sport utility vehicle so cheap without cutting corners? What hidden strategy are they playing that threatens Tesla's survival? And why should you care right now? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll realize this is not just another electric vehicle. It's the future of driving, and you're about to see why. How Toyota built a budget EV that drives like a premium SUV. In a market where performance has always been the playground of expensive electric vehicles like the Tesla Model Y or the Mercedes-Benz EQC, Toyota has flipped the entire game on its head. They engineered an electric vehicle that delivers real-world power, handling, and battery efficiency without the ridiculous price tag. And the way they pulled it off is something no one saw coming. Let's start with what this electric sport utility vehicle can actually do. First, the acceleration is nothing short of shocking. This budget-friendly machine can reach 60 miles per hour in under 8 seconds. For a sport utility vehicle that costs only $13,000, that is a serious statement. It's not a Tesla Model S Plaid, but it's quick enough to leave most gasoline-powered compact SUVs in the dust. The driving experience itself is where Toyota quietly dominates. Thanks to the use of a lithium iron phosphate battery pack, the vehicle benefits from better weight distribution, giving it superior handling compared to similarly priced gasoline counterparts. That battery technology also delivers an impressive range. You get over 250 miles on a full charge, matching what many premium electric vehicles were offering just a few years ago for 3 times the price. But here is where it gets really interesting. Lithium iron phosphate batteries are not just cheaper, they are more durable. Unlike traditional lithium-ion batteries, which degrade rapidly over time, these batteries can sustain thousands of charge cycles with minimal loss in capacity. That means fewer worries about battery replacements, longer vehicle lifespan, and ultimately better resale value. Why does this matter to you? Because performance was always sold to you as something exclusive, something reserved for those who could afford to spend $40,000, $50,000, or even $100,000. Toyota just made it mainstream. Middle-class buyers, young professionals, and families who never thought they could afford a fun-to-drive electric vehicle suddenly have access. And here's the reward you didn't see coming. Toyota's battery decision wasn't just about price. It was a calculated engineering philosophy. By partnering with Guangqi Automobile Group in China, they leveraged cost-efficient, large-scale manufacturing without sacrificing the essentials that make an electric vehicle worth driving. The result? A budget sport utility vehicle that quietly embarrasses premium rivals on performance and durability. So now that you know this electric vehicle can drive like a premium machine, let me show you why the surprises don't stop there. Because inside this budget sport utility vehicle, you're going to find something even more shocking. But before we get to that, hit that subscribe button, it helps us a lot. Inside the budget beast. Most people assume cheap cars come with cheap cabins. Toyota just shattered that rule. Step inside their $13,000 electric sport utility vehicle, and you will question everything you thought you knew about budget vehicles. Because the interior doesn't feel cheap, it feels premium. And that was no accident. The centerpiece of this cabin experience is a massive 14-inch touchscreen that dominates the dashboard. This is not some clunky, outdated display you would expect in an economy car. It is smooth, fast, and visually stunning. You can seamlessly connect your smartphone using wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Navigation, entertainment, and vehicle controls are all right there at your fingertips, as if you were sitting in a Tesla Model Y. But Toyota did not stop at flashy screens. Directly behind the steering wheel is an 8-inch fully digital driver display, providing real-time data like battery range, speed, and navigation prompts. This dual display setup is something you would normally see in vehicles costing $50,000 or more. It does not end there. Toyota has packed this cabin with comfort and technology that would make even luxury car buyers do a double take. Standard features include wireless smartphone charging, rear air conditioning vents for backseat passengers, multiple USB-C charging ports, and even a foldable armrest with storage. These are not optional extras. They come standard. The real jaw-dropper, however, is the 32-color ambient lighting system. This is something you would expect in a Mercedes-Benz EQS or BMW iX, not a vehicle priced under $15,000. You can personalize your cabin atmosphere based on your mood, something luxury brands charge thousands of dollars for. Why does this matter to you? Because middle-class buyers have been locked out of this experience for years. The rule was simple. If you want luxury, you have to pay luxury prices. Toyota just broke that rule, and in doing so, they made premium driving accessible to millions of people who never thought they could afford it. Here is the reward you did not see coming. Toyota is losing money on every one of these vehicles they sell. That is not a mistake. It is part of their strategy. They are sacrificing short-term profits to flood the market with a product so good, so irresistible, that it forces the entire industry to rethink what is possible. And if the exterior matters to you just as much as the interior, well, you are about to discover why Toyota's design strategy will make you question every other budget electric vehicle on the road. The look of the future. First, let us talk about size. Toyota deliberately built this electric sport utility vehicle to mirror the dimensions of their best-selling gasoline-powered model, the Toyota RAV4. That means it is not some tiny city car or awkward hatchback. It is a full-size sport utility vehicle with the road presence to match. You get generous cargo space, seating for 5, and a design that feels robust and practical. But what really sets it apart is how Toyota styled it. They took deliberate cues from high-end electric vehicles, with sleek LED headlights, flush door handles, and a bold front fascia that looks aerodynamic and aggressive. The silhouette is smooth and modern, with sharp character lines that give it a muscular stance. The build quality also defies expectations. The panel gaps are tight. The paintwork is polished. The materials used on the exterior trim feel solid and durable. This is not a budget car pretending to be premium. It is a budget car that looks, feels, and drives like something twice its price. Why does this matter to you? Because for years, people have paid thousands of extra dollars just to own a vehicle that looks good in their driveway. Toyota has killed that excuse. Now you can drive something that looks like it belongs in a luxury dealership lot without spending a fortune. And here is the reward you did not expect. Toyota strategically designed this electric vehicle to mimic the visual appeal of premium models for a reason. They want it to become the default choice. When you see this sport utility vehicle next to a Tesla, a Ford Mustang Mach-E, or a Volkswagen ID.4, it does not look like the cheap option. It looks like the smart option. But we are only getting started. Because under that stunning exterior is an entirely new platform that changes everything about how electric vehicles will be built from now on. Toyota's secret platform. Here's the secret no one's talking about: how Toyota weaponized China's electric vehicle factories to crush the competition. It's not just the $13,000 price tag that's shaking the industry. It's how Toyota got there in the first place. While companies like Tesla and Build Your Dreams continue to push forward with vertically integrated supply chains and self-built gigafactories, Toyota took a different, far more dangerous path. They leveraged the full power of China's low-cost, high-volume manufacturing network. And now, the global electric vehicle race will never be the same. Toyota's most critical move was forming a strategic partnership with the Guangzhou Automobile Group, also known as the GAC Group. This Chinese automotive powerhouse had already perfected the art of mass-producing electric vehicles with brutal efficiency and minimal overhead. Toyota did not waste years building its own battery infrastructure from scratch Instead, it plugged directly into a system that was already operating at full speed. The result? Unprecedented speed to market, cost reduction, and access to a skilled labor force ready to scale instantly. But this alliance with GAC Group was just one piece of Toyota's industrial puzzle. The company also made a bold technological pivot, abandoning traditional lithium-ion battery architecture in favor of lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, battery chemistry. Most automakers avoided LFP for years due to concerns over energy density. But Toyota saw something others missed. LFP batteries are cheaper, longer lasting, and less reliant on rare earth minerals like cobalt or nickel. And when your mission is to build a full-size sport utility vehicle for under $15,000, every cent counts. The brilliance of this move is in its timing. While Tesla remains entangled in supply chain volatility and geopolitical risk due to its heavy reliance on specific mineral sources, Toyota's LFP strategy allows for a more stable and scalable production plan. That stability is what's giving Toyota the edge it needs, not just to build one model, but to roll out an entire affordable lineup at speeds the competition simply cannot match. Yet even all this would be meaningless without one last weapon: Toyota's long-perfected just-in-time production system. For over 4 decades, Toyota has led the world in manufacturing efficiency. Their factories don't warehouse excess inventory. They don't overbuild or overstock. Every single part, from the dashboard to the door handles, arrives exactly when it's needed and not a moment before. That system, refined endlessly since the 1980s, is now being applied to electric vehicle production on a global scale. Why does this matter for you? Because this isn't just a cheap car. It's a masterclass in supply chain domination. And no other car maker can replicate it overnight. Tesla's factories are advanced but vertically siloed. Build Your Dreams has domestic strength but limited global reach. Volkswagen is efficient but slow. Toyota just turned decades of global manufacturing excellence into a lightning strike, and it hit the electric vehicle industry square in the heart. And here's where it gets even more dangerous. Toyota's manufacturing platform isn't just fast and cheap. It's infinitely scalable. That means this $13,000 sport utility vehicle is not a one-off. It's the start of a wave. A blueprint that Toyota can now copy, paste, and multiply. Not just in China, but in any market it chooses. The competition has no choice but to follow, and they're already 3 steps behind. But Toyota's manufacturing strategy was only the opening move. What came next wasn't just smart, it was ruthless. Because building a cheap electric vehicle is one thing. Pricing it to wipe out the entire gasoline economy, it's a whole different kind of warfare, the price war. What if I told you Toyota is willing to lose money on every car, to kill gasoline forever? That's not clickbait. That's the quiet truth behind the biggest pricing shock in automotive history. Toyota's $13,000 electric sport utility vehicle isn't just affordable. It's intentionally underpriced. And that strategy is about to ignite a war that the internal combustion engine cannot survive. Let's be clear. No automaker sets a price this low by accident. According to industry analysts, Toyota's break-even point on this model likely falls closer to $20,000. That means they're absorbing a loss of several $1,000s on every unit sold. But this isn't reckless. It's calculated. Because Toyota knows that the first company to make electric vehicles cheaper than gasoline-powered ones will own the mass market. This tactic isn't entirely new. Companies like Amazon have used it for years, selling products at a loss to crush competitors and dominate market share. Once dominance is achieved, profits flow from services, subscriptions, and long-term brand loyalty. Toyota's thinking follows the same logic. They're betting that the initial loss will be more than offset by downstream gains through software upgrades, connected car services, parts, and most importantly, global volume. Why does this matter to you? Because for the first time in modern automotive history, An electric vehicle is cheaper to buy than a gas-powered one. Not just cheaper to run, not just better for the environment, cheaper to own from day one. That single fact changes everything. It forces traditional car buyers to confront a new economic reality. Why pay $25,000 for a compact gasoline sedan when a full-size electric sport utility vehicle with premium features costs nearly half? And this is not just an isolated case. Toyota's strategy is a declaration of intent. They're bringing war to every price segment. For Tesla, this is a nightmare. Their pricing model relies on high margins. They can't cut prices by 50% without gutting their profits. For Volkswagen, it's a race against time. Their strategy was to start with premium models and move down. Toyota flipped that script, and now the clock is ticking. And it doesn't stop at automakers. This price drop hits gas stations, repair shops, oil suppliers, and even governments that rely on fuel taxes. As electric vehicles become mainstream by price, not just performance or sustainability, the entire automotive economy has to shift or collapse. Toyota's undercutting strategy is so aggressive, it has already forced competitors to start rethinking their pricing in silence. But here's the twist: most can't follow. They don't have the scale, the partnerships, or the cost-cutting experience to survive in this new pricing environment. Which means this $13,000 electric vehicle is more than just a headline. It's the opening shot in a war that gasoline cars simply cannot win. But before you celebrate the death of the gas pump, there's a hidden catch in Toyota's master plan. Because even if this price war crushes gasoline vehicles, it might create a whole new problem. One that could directly affect you. So let's talk about that. But have you subscribed yet? It's just a click of a button, and don't forget the bell icon too. Thanks. The hidden drawbacks. Before you rush to the dealership, here's the one thing nobody's telling you. Even if you're sold on the performance, the design, and the price, this $13,000 electric sport utility vehicle might not be the right fit yet. Because there's one major challenge standing between you and full electric ownership: infrastructure. Owning an electric vehicle is more than just plugging in at home. For millions of buyers, especially those in apartments, condos, or rural areas, charging is still a logistical nightmare. Home chargers require permits, installation costs, and sometimes even electrical upgrades. Public chargers, they're often scarce, slow, or out of service. And while networks are expanding, they're not keeping pace with demand. This becomes a serious problem for long-distance drivers. If you're used to spontaneous road trips or long highway commutes, range anxiety remains very real. Charging stations along major routes are often overbooked or spaced too far apart. And even with fast charging improvements, refueling an electric vehicle still takes longer than pumping gas. Now combine that with the fact that this Toyota is aimed at the masses. That means potentially millions of new electric vehicle owners entering a system that's not ready to support them. The result? Infrastructure bottlenecks, long lines at charging stations, increased electrical grid strain, and consumer frustration that could slow adoption right when momentum is building. But the issue doesn't end there. Maintenance on electric vehicles is lower, but not non-existent. Battery health, software updates, and unique repair needs mean service centers must adapt. And while Toyota's global dealership network is a huge advantage, not all locations are prepared to service electric models at volume. So why does this matter to you? Because even though the car is ready for the mainstream, the world around it might not be. And this gap between price and practicality could become the biggest obstacle to the electric revolution. Here's why this matters even more. If infrastructure doesn't scale alongside sales, early buyers may face delays, complications, or dissatisfaction that ripple through the market. That's the unintended consequence of selling too many electric vehicles too quickly. Toyota is forcing the market to accelerate, but the rest of the world needs to catch up. Otherwise, this revolutionary budget electric vehicle might flood a system that's not built to handle the wave. And that's where things get really interesting, because the consequences of this bottleneck could echo far beyond Toyota. And while that bottleneck could slow down early buyers, it is already having devastating consequences for one company in particular. Because the real victim of Toyota's electric onslaught isn't the gasoline engine. Toyota's EV destroys Tesla's business model. Tesla's dominance was built on one assumption. Toyota just broke it overnight. For over a decade, Tesla dictated the shape of the electric vehicle market. With sleek designs, futuristic tech, and a premium price tag, it built its empire on one core assumption: that consumers would pay more for electric innovation. But what if I told you Toyota just shattered that idea overnight? Toyota's $13,000 fully equipped electric sport utility vehicle did not just enter the EV race. It obliterated the rules Tesla relied on to stay in control. This is not a stripped-down budget car. It is a full-size electric sport utility vehicle with advanced features, premium build quality, and the reliability legacy only Toyota can provide. Here is where things get dangerous for Tesla. The company's business model depends entirely on high margins. Models like the Tesla Model Y and Tesla Model 3 start around $35,000 and stretch past $65,000 depending on the configuration. Tesla's identity is rooted in luxury branding. That worked when no one else could match their range or technology. But Toyota just delivered a comparable package at less than half the cost. Now Tesla is trapped. Lowering prices would crush its already shrinking margins, down from nearly 30% to just around 17% recently. But holding prices high will cost them the mainstream market. Either move is a loss. And Tesla's cost structure only makes this worse. Their vertically integrated model, once an advantage, is now a liability. They simply cannot scale the way Toyota can. With over 70 years of manufacturing expertise and a vast global supply chain, Toyota is capable of producing at levels Tesla cannot yet reach. But pricing is not even the biggest threat. Infrastructure is. Tesla's direct-to-consumer model once looked revolutionary, but now that same model leaves them vulnerable. Toyota's massive dealership network offers in-person support, servicing, and customer care, a huge psychological advantage for middle-class buyers looking for familiarity and trust. And this changes everything because Toyota has exposed Tesla's blind spot: a failure to prepare for the true mass-market electric revolution. In the luxury lane, Tesla still has room to play. But for the average buyer who wants value, support, and a dependable EV that does not break the bank, Tesla just lost its upper hand. But Tesla isn't the only company feeling the heat. Let's turn our attention to another giant in the electric vehicle market and see how they're grappling with Toyota's unexpected move. Why China's biggest EV brand can't stop Toyota. Build Your Dreams, or BYD, has been the electric powerhouse of China for years. It has outsold Tesla, outpaced Volkswagen, and flooded the market with affordable, tech-packed vehicles. BYD mastered the game of volume and pricing, especially in its home territory. But Toyota's $13,000 electric sport utility vehicle has now stepped directly into BYD's domain and brought with it a powerful advantage that BYD cannot replicate: global trust. What most people don't realize is that while BYD has succeeded through sheer volume, its brand still lacks the universal credibility and safety image Toyota has built over generations. And in a market as competitive as China, where consumer perception is shifting toward long-term value and reliability, that trust is everything. Toyota's partnership with the Guangzhou Automobile Group, one of China's most efficient electric vehicle manufacturers, allows it to deliver local production, lower costs, and supply chain advantages without sacrificing its international branding. That's the trap BYD now faces. Its main appeal was low-cost electric vehicles with good tech. But Toyota has just matched that pricing and over-delivered on quality. More importantly, Toyota is not seen as a local budget brand. It's seen as a global leader. And Chinese middle-class consumers are increasingly looking for electric vehicles that offer not just affordability but long-term dependability, and resale value. On all three fronts, Toyota's reputation gives it a psychological edge. BYD may have flooded the market with options, but Toyota has launched a laser-focused attack. One full-size electric sport utility vehicle with advanced tech, a premium feel, and a legendary name behind it is already stealing attention and possibly market share. And this isn't just about one car. It's a signal that Toyota is planning to expand aggressively across China and other Asian markets using the same formula: local production, high-quality parts, and unbeatable pricing. Even more threatening to BYD is Toyota's production model. BYD relies heavily on vertical integration, similar to Tesla, but it doesn't have Toyota's experience in global logistics, cost management, and scale. Toyota's ability to produce millions of units while maintaining quality has been refined over decades. That scale, combined with local manufacturing partnerships, creates an unbeatable cost structure that even BYD will struggle to match in the long term. Here's why this matters for you. The China market sets the global tone for electric vehicle adoption. If Toyota can beat BYD in China, it can beat anyone, anywhere. And that's exactly what they are setting up to do. The moment Toyota's vehicles started rolling off production lines in China, the game changed. Not just for BYD, but for the entire industry. This leads to an unexpected twist. Toyota may become the first truly global electric vehicle brand that dominates both East and West, leaving BYD squeezed in the middle. But the ripple effect doesn't stop there. Across the globe, another automotive titan is finding itself in a precarious position due to Toyota's aggressive strategy: Volkswagen's EV collapse. How Toyota exposed their slow strategy. They were supposed to lead Europe's EV revolution, but Toyota left them in the dust. Volkswagen had everything going for it: a massive presence in Europe, early investment in electrification, and a lineup of electric vehicles that aim to balance affordability with quality. For years, the company positioned itself as the people's choice in the electric transition. But Toyota's recent move has exposed just how sluggish and outdated Volkswagen's strategy really is. Volkswagen's approach has been cautious and methodical. Start with premium pricing, slowly ramp up volume, and gradually lower prices as production scales. It's a playbook that might have worked in another timeline. But Toyota has just skipped ahead, launching an electric sport utility vehicle at a price that Volkswagen cannot match, with features Volkswagen still reserves for their upper trims. What makes this so devastating is how fast Toyota moved. While Volkswagen was tweaking its software, solving ID.4 production bugs, and preparing for another round of mid-range electric launches, Toyota delivered a shock. This is a spacious, well-equipped electric Volkswagen killer in my opinion. But what do you think? Let's talk in the comments.